There were opportunities, I believe, to better align this bill with the approach taken in the Scotland Act, and indeed I tabled clauses to that effect during its report stage in the Commons. But my first question is if the Joint Ministerial Council is the suggested dispute solution, which I understand from evidence today it is, given that it hasn't met during the pandemic, as indeed this committee has heard already this year, how do current processes need to improve? And indeed, is that being taken into consideration in relation to the integrated review? Probably to Minister Stewart first of all, please. Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, I mean the broader question of intergovernmental relations is also being reviewed, and I don't have a specific date, but I understand an announcement on that will be coming soon. To make sure that the mechanisms for intergovernmental relationships are streamlined and improved. So yes.
Minister, when you say soon, how soon do you mean? Given that obviously we're told that this bill is absolutely required as we leave the EU, which happens in a month and a half.
Yes, I don't have a particular date given to me, but I think it will be sooner rather than later.
Thanks for that. My final question is to Minister Scully again. Now, speaking to my colleagues in the Lords, there is a real concern around the breadth of the CMA powers, and indeed I raised this in an urgent question yesterday to Minister Hands. There is a concern that the International Market Bill could potentially be used by outside interests, for example US investors, in a trade deal to challenge the devolved administrations. I'd just like to understand your views on that. Is that possible within the bill that you talked about? And indeed, what engagement have you had with the Department of International Trade on such an issue, which potentially is hugely concerning?
Yeah, it's not something I recognise, Chamberlain, but I will certainly write to you on that. I think it just further, but in terms of your previous question about the, I can't give you a specific answer about a cross-sector example that you asked for, but effectively because the common frameworks, as I talked about the fact that we were introducing new ones, they can't be there for every single example. So effectively the Internal Market Bill is acting as the bedrock between all of those common frameworks and tying them together. Hopefully that's helpful.
It would be helpful if the common frameworks are for the different sectors and we need this from a cross-sector perspective, that we would have some clarity on what that might look like, and perhaps you might like to write to me on that as well. Yeah, that's me, Chair. Thank you very much.